Okay friends, to get started on our rear shock job, one of the first things we have to do is get inside the back of the passenger compartment. We're going to remove the rear seat right here. If you just grab underneath the bottom, you can give it a loving tug and pop it free. Do the same to the other side, and then we'll get this right out of here. Once you have the front pop free, the next thing we need to do is come along this area here. Now, right underneath these two areas, you're going to be able to find one mounting bolt. Go ahead and remove that. Now we can get this right out of here. Now we're going to come along the side here and remove this mounting bolt so we can get this out of the way. Go ahead and grab onto this. We're going to lift it straight up. That's going to help release it. Remove it from the car. Now obviously the process will be the same for the other side to access it. We're going to release the back seat. So I'm just going to go ahead and twist this to unlock it. Fold this down. So now we're going to remove this panel along here. You want to be very careful because it just has some little plastic push clips behind there. I'm going to grab onto it like this. Okay, so now we have clear access to our mounting nuts, one right here and one on the other side. But we're not necessarily going to remove those yet. The next thing we need to do is raise the back of the car. Remove all 5 of your lug nuts and the wheel. Okay, with the wheel out of the way, now we have a nice clear view of the mounting point for our rear shock to the knuckle. We have a bolt that comes through from the rear to the front. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and hold the bolt side with a wrench, and then I'll remove the nut on the other side. Now let's separate the shock from the rear knuckle. Okay, now that we have this so it's getting ready to separate, let's get back inside the passenger compartment and remove our upper mounting nuts. Now let's start removing our upper nuts. There's one. Let's do the same to the other. The next thing we're going to remove is the bracket for the ABS wire right here. Remove the bolt that holds the flex hose. Now we're going to come up and remove this bolt right here. Go ahead and hold on to that shock so it can't go anywhere. So now we're just going to pivot the bracket so it's out of the way. Now we can bring down the rear shock. We're going to pivot it and slide it out of the car. There it is, friends. Now it's going to be time to put in our brand new shock. Let's go ahead and reverse the process here. I'm just going to carefully slide it in. Pull down on the suspension so I can put it in. Now we'll just bring this up, line it up with its 2 holes up along the top, and we'll start on those nuts. Go ahead and swing that bracket around the shock now. Get this lined up. Now let's take our bracket bolt, get ready to start that in. I'm just going to pull down on the suspension here. We'll get one side lined up. Okay, now that I have that started, we're going to start pulling down on this a little bit more, and we're going to try to put in our through bolt. That's going to come through from the rear of the car to the front. Now let's start the nut on there. At this point, we can start snugging them up. Now let's snug up the lower shock bolt here. Now we're going to torque this to 43 foot-pounds. Now let's get our brake hose back attached. Let's re-secure the ABS wire. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get the wheel on here. We'll start all of our lug nuts, snug them up, get the wheel back on the ground, and then we'll torque the lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds. Torqued. Now with the full weight of the vehicle on the ground, we have the strut completely pushed up into the body of the car. The next thing we'll do is snug these up, and then we'll torque them to 37 foot-pounds. Once you have both sides done, you can continue on to putting this all back together. You want to make sure you line up your little push pitons with the holes that they're supposed to correspond to. Now let's get this back in. Looking at the back, you can tell that you're going to need to go up high and then slide it straight down. Once you have it down, continue on by putting in your mounting bolt. Now do the same to the other side. Put up your rear seat. Let's put in the lower aspect of the seat. Grab your seat belt buckles. Those are going to line up with the corresponding slots here. Then of course we have this area that needs to line up with its bolt hole on the body. Once you have it pushed back, go ahead and lock it in. Now we're going to put in our center bolt here. Okay friends, like I said before, if you're going to do one rear shock, you want to make sure that you do them both as a pair. Typically, they take a little while to settle in, so you might notice if you do one side of your car might sit a little higher than the other. Just do them as a pair. Other than that, take yourself safely down to your local alignment shop.